Everybody, welcome back to the Selling Portage podcast. Colin, how are you doing?
I'm very well. You forgot about your intro. Welcome back to the Selling Portage podcast. I am
You told
Colin
me never to
Doyle,
do that again.
along with my co-host Ryan, Ricky the Steamboat SB.
Right. And we're starting off with nonsense today. That looks like an odd setting. It's definitely an odd choice for your living room art there, Colin.
Yes, well, I am currently not in my office today, as you can see. I am in Winnipeg at the Delta Hotel for the Association of Manitoba Municipalities Conference Spring
Yes.
Convention.
And I, for various reasons, was unable to attend this year. So, yes, I'm still a part of the City Council of Portage Prairie, despite the photos that have come out with me noticeably missing. And I'm the only one. However, I will be at the fall convention. Now, tell me about the convention. What have you gained of value throughout the process?
So, there's been some good speakers. Yesterday, we got to hear from Tyler Smith, and that name may sound familiar to some people. He was on a winning team in the Amazing Race Canada, and he is also a survivor of the Humboldt Broncos crash. So, he was speaking about coming back from a tragedy like that, about mental health, and about how sort of he was under the impression after everything happened that because he was a man, he has to suppress those feelings. And he's 27 years old, and he is a hell of a speaker. And it was a very, very motivating story. And that was probably my highlight of the conference. I just stepped out of a presentation to come film this podcast. Andrew Coyne was the speaker, and he's a journalist. You would maybe not recognize him to see him, but you would definitely recognize his voice. And he was discussing the current trade situation with the U.S. and how Canada can be a little more resilient through the process and set ourselves up so if this ever happens again, we're not in the same situation. So it was kind of interesting. Plus, lots of networking. There was also a session I went to yesterday about emergency medical responders and how local fire departments can mesh with that role and maybe take on some of that role to alleviate some wait times throughout the province. So it's been interesting so far.
Oh, that's good.
And then last night I went out and sang karaoke, so that was lots of fun too.
Yeah, I bet it was. I bet it was. I'll be there next time, singing right along with you.
That's right.
We have a council meeting tonight.
We do.
So you guys, the rest of council, I'm the only one that might be completely well rested for this meeting tonight. It looks like a fairly light agenda, but all of you will be driving back from the conference and pretty much
straight to City Hall.
Going straight to City Hall. And I will see you there.
Perfect.
Yeah. As far as real estate goes, what do you got going on this week?
I have a new listing coming up today. If we're assuming today is Friday when the podcast usually gets released, I'll have a new listing coming up in Oakville. A couple new appointments on the go, and I just finalized a couple of deals out in Westburn. So it's been good. It's been a good couple of weeks for me. What about yourself?
It's been I did a market update this morning, and this morning being Wednesday, it's only like 23 listings in Portage right now because only one new one has come up this week and like 7 have sold. So the inventory is going down. The spring, like I say this all the time, but the spring market's already happening, and people are like, well, maybe June. No, list right now because there's nothing else out there. Like you are entering a competition with no competition.
Right.
And you will win. So the time is right now. I did list a piece of property, a large chunk of property in the municipality of Norfolk Treeherne.
Oh,
And here we are 24 hours later, I'm writing an offer on it. So it will be gone.
perfect.
Yeah.
And that's vacant property.
Yeah. By the time this airs, that property will be sold. It is vacant
Excellent.
property. It's all bush and the river runs
It's all
right
bush.
through it. If you're a hunter or an outdoors person of any kind, that would be the one.
I was going to say, that's who probably scooped it up.
Somebody that lives in the area and owns lots of property around the area, so they're just consolidating their land, and
Good.
Looks like a pretty good deal for them.
Perfect.
Yeah. Otherwise, lots of cool announcements coming in commercial real estate. I cannot talk about it yet, but there are some pretty good ones coming up. So that's a little teaser for you. But we have a guest coming up right away.
Who are we talking to today?
We are talking to Mary Kozar, formerly Mary Lawrence. She's the executive director of the PCRC, but we're not talking about much about that. We're going to get into her history and how she ended up in Portage La Prairie, and how she her history and background and all that fun stuff we get into. So as usual, we're not focusing as much on the business as we are the person.
Works for me.
All right.
Let's bring her in.
Without further ado, Mary Kozar. To the show.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. How are you doing today?
Good. It's technically my Friday. I have an extra long weekend coming up, so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, must be nice.
Yeah, it's a daycare PD day tomorrow, so I had to take the day off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
That's good. Good morning.
So, yeah, as we do on this show, we tend to focus on the person, and we want to get to know you a little bit better. So let's talk about early days. Born and raised. Okay. Where did that happen?
Flin Flon, Manitoba. So up north. Born and raised. Me and my 3 siblings. I thought I had a really boring childhood, and I had no idea how great I had it until I was an adult. So
well, tell me about that. What was the childhood filled with?
Well, lots of outdoor stuff. So my parents have a cabin on Lake Athapap. So no running water, no power. There's a rail line that runs through Millwater, and we spent our entire summers out there. And we would just run around, go swimming, pick blueberries, do what we wanted, basically. We kind of had freedom out there. So that was really nice.
Doesn't sound very boring at all.
No. And I mean, it's great fishing up north. We, and back in the 90s, I mean, Flin Flon was really safe. So I would walk to school, I'd walk home for lunch. I went to a small elementary school, so all the teachers knew me and my siblings. And I was the youngest Lawrence, so they would always compare us all. My mom was a teacher at my high school, so all of my friends knew, and everyone at my high school knew my mom. Yeah, it was great. And I mean, it was a lot simpler than I think a lot of kids have it now.
For sure.
Yeah. You came up probably just before the internet took over everything.
Yeah, Facebook had just come out when I was in high school. So, okay. And we had, I had a Motorola Razr. So barely any internet on it.
Yeah, that was a cell phone.
Yeah. And then from there, my brothers had moved away to school, and my sister, they're all older than me, and both my brothers ended up in Alberta. So, and my sister was there for a while too. And I moved out to Calgary for a bit and Lethbridge, and kind of bounced around between the two, and Flin Flon until I was 24. I moved back to Flin Flon for a couple of years, and then moved to Portage from there.
And what brought you to Portage?
My husband, so my boyfriend at the time, but he was primarily raised in Portage, but his family's from Flin Flon too. And we had never really met until we were both living back there as adults. He was really good friends with my cousin, and we had never, I think I saw him at a party once before that, but we started dating, and then a job came up at McCain's and we thought we'd make the move.
Interesting.
So did you do anything after high school for career-wise?
Yes. So I did a year of university, and at that point, like lots of people were waiting 2-3 years to get into programs at universities and colleges. So I did a interior design diploma at Lethbridge College after that. So I spent 2 years in Lethbridge, and then I moved back to Calgary and lived at my brother's house for a couple years and did like high-end retail sales. And I wanted to go back to school, but it was really expensive and I didn't know for sure what I wanted to do. So I did some communications classes through Athabasca. And then eventually, like after I had my first kid, I had finished my degree through Athabasca. So it took a few years, but yeah, it was worthwhile.
Now I've been to your house and I can definitely see the interior design touches that you've done. And I had no idea that you had taken actual courses in that.
Yeah, so I can draft in AutoCAD, and yeah, I've got like color theory and all of that stuff. We used to do like in-home consults in Calgary and like surrounding area. So I've been in some really nice homes out west, and yeah, it was fun while I did it. And I had a really good experience living out there, but I ultimately wanted to do something else, and I wanted to be closer to my family. So my parents and my sister are both in Flin Flon still, and my mom's extended family, and a lot of my close friends are up there, and some are down here now too. We usually get together kind of like quarterly and have dinner with all of our families, which is fun, and it's nice to catch up.
That's
Well, and I didn't know about the interior design thing either, but it makes sense because when Ryan listed your old house and I brought a buyer, and I always say first impression is everything, right? She walked into your house. She called me right away and said, "How do I buy this?" And it was within like, the open house started at 2, and this was like 2:03. I got the phone call.
I worked really hard to stage that house with my infant moving around between rooms.
I don't think people realize the challenges of doing trying to sell a home while you have small children.
Yeah, I actually took the kids and lived in my in-laws' camper in their driveway while I prepped the house, and we had it listed. So that was a little bit easier. And then my husband would like go sleep there and visit us after work, basically.
So now you moved to Portage La Prairie, and you say you were brought here because of your husband.
Yes. So Devin moved here in April of 2018, and I moved here like January 1st, 2019, and started my job at PCRC the next day. So it took me a bit to find a job. I was working for the Northern Health Region in Flin Flon at the time in their public health office, and I really liked it. But I didn't have a degree at that point, so I didn't know really what I wanted to do. And I ended up getting my position as community engagement coordinator at PCRC. And we were much smaller then, so I was helping with some bookkeeping stuff and doing minutes for the board and answering the phone and all kinds of things here. So I really got to know the community that way, and lots of other people who worked at other organizations and community stakeholders and things like that.
And now you're at you're in the big chair over there. So what is
I made it.
What is your job title now?
Now it's executive director. So I've had 3 titles here at PCRC. After I was a community engagement coordinator, I took over our community mobilization program. So we received full-time funding for that. about 9 months after I started here at PCRC, and I was already chairing that committee. So I applied for that role and got it. And I loved that work. I'm still really connected to a lot of the work that's being done with community mobilization here in Portage. And I think it's really exciting because everyone's working to the edges of their mandates and doing innovative stuff with their roles at the table.
Excellent.
And that's very apparent in our city too. Like,
Absolutely.
you have a lot of programming coming out of one building, or actually coming out of a couple of buildings now.
So we expanded to another location this fall with our Youth Hub project, and that was years in the making. We applied in 2021 for one of those applications and finally got funding last summer. And we actually have 3 funding streams for that project. 2 are from Public Safety Canada, and 1 is through the province, Department of Families Youth Connect project. And we're seeing lots of great outcomes already with youth and people getting really engaged.
And it's very apparent when somebody has a conversation with you, this isn't a job for you. You know, you are fully invested, and that's just very obvious whenever somebody speaks with you about what you do and what PCRC does, and it's very admirable.
Thanks. Yeah, it's I didn't know that I would love nonprofit like I do. And it's hard to think about going back to work in like a structured kind of environment because there's so many rules and like policies around what you can do in different sectors. But at PCRC, like if you have an idea, you can make it happen.
Right. I love that.
And I always tell people that's the best reason to work here.
Yeah. So, switching gears just a little bit.
Sure.
What does Mary do for fun?
A lot of what I do for fun now is like entertain my kids and try not to entertain them too much. But we have lots of fun together. We like have taken them camping. We'll try and go on as many like day trips as we can, whether that's like to farms or to the children's museum. There's always lots going on in Portage. Last weekend, we took them to the Family Resource Center Easter party, and they always have live bunnies, which my older daughter always remembers now. Like she's 4, and she says, "Are we going to see the bunnies this year?" And then my 1-year-old, I had to take her out of the pen eventually because she was picking them up by just their fur with one hand. And I was a little bit worried she was going to get bit. But other than that, yeah, I still love interior design. So like when the Winnipeg Home Show is on and things like that, I love doing stuff like that. Our new house, I put up some wallpaper, which was kind of like a new venture for me. So I did okay, I would say. Like you can't see the flaws until you go up really close. And
you would probably see them more than anyone.
Yeah. And wallpaper is tricky.
Yes, it is. And I did the peel and stick. So I thought that would be easier. But I don't know if it was.
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah, in theory.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, what's something that people would be surprised to find out about you?
Oh. So one thing is that I'm kind of like a secret doomsday prepper at heart. Like I love stuff like that. And my dad went through this phase where he was making actual bug out bags and like buying me like survival knives and stuff like that. And my oldest brother actually bought me like a mini hatchet for my bridal shower. Which was a lot of people had laughs about that at the shower. Yeah, and so my parents' cabin, there's a rail line that runs through it. So you used to be able to walk from a quarry out to their cabin, which I did from a very young age and had no idea that like that would be hard or anything. But now I can't imagine trying to make my kids, walk 1.5 kilometers with a backpack on. Because I can barely get them to carry their backpacks inside daycare. but I kind of like whenever I see like a survival show with like the rail line or anything, I feel really connected to it because of that.
That's interesting. So you have that's your place you're going to go if
Yes.
the worst happens.
Yes.
And you get there by well, I don't want to give away your secrets because who knows, maybe someone will watch this and be able to. But yeah, okay.
So I am far from a doomsday prepper. So can I come with you?
Maybe if you can find us, we'll take you, Colin.
Okay, fair enough.
That's a polite way of saying you're on your own.
Yeah.
I mean, I too have a plan, but I don't think I'm as prepared as you are.
No, you're not going to reveal it to us?
Well, I have supplies, and I have a location.
Hmm.
My location is fairly heavily populated, and it's probably just my cabin, and it's not that far away. But it'll get me far away enough that the community would be able to, we'll survive.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. Colin?
Good.
All right. Well, I'll go into the fun ones if that's what you
Let's
feel
dig
like
in.
we should do.
Okay.
First question. Favorite book you've ever read?
Oh. So the first one that popped into my mind was The Lovely Bones.
Okay.
Have you ever read that one or watched the movie?
I've heard of it.
Where it like starts out with the main character, she like gets murdered at the beginning, and then it goes into like
that's the main character.
Yes, and then she's like watching like her family's lives moving forward through the book, and like the murderer.
Yeah, I am familiar with the story. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
In a similar sense, we're going to go with movie.
Okay. Ooh. One of my favorite movies is Sicario.
Never heard
Have
of
you
it.
seen it?
I've watched it, yeah. I think I just recently watched it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think it's part of the Taylor Sheridan verse.
Yes, it is. It's quite good.
Yeah.
What makes that one your favorite?
I really like the storyline.
Okay. I'm going to
And
take
it's like a movie that I could put on and watch again.
Okay. Well, you're a prepper and you like Sicario. That's a little scary. Go watch that movie, Colin. You'll know what I'm talking about. I think it's on
Netflix. Yes.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Plus. So let me go back a little bit. Let's say, what was your favorite movie as a child?
Oh, I think I was really into Disney movies.
Okay. I thought you were going to say Rambo or something.
No. No. But I do remember watching Lake Placid as a very young child. Do you remember that one?
That's a great movie.
Yeah, I mean, I was the youngest. So my siblings are 7, 9, and 4 years older than me. So I usually didn't get to pick what we watched. And sometimes we watched things that I probably shouldn't have seen so young.
Exposed to some scarier movies at a younger age.
Yeah.
Now, this is the last question we ask people. What is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
Oh. That's a really good one. Once somebody told me that sometimes the biggest difference between people is whether you've done something or not how well you've done it, which I kind of lean towards perfectionism. So I tend to keep that in mind because sometimes it is like if you can get something done, even if it's not perfect, it matters more than how well it's done. So like it took me 10 years to get a university degree, and I thought that a lot of the things I learned didn't matter until I worked in nonprofit, and I often use every single skill I have ever acquired to get things done or complete projects or work towards stuff. And yeah.
Well, that is excellent.
I like it.
Any closing thoughts, Colin?
No, I just really appreciate you being here, and I know that I've learned some things about you, and I'm sure the viewers will also learn some things. The doomsday prepper, that's interesting, because I never pegged you as that, but you never know until you dive deep on the Selling Portage podcast and
you never
figure out
know
who people are.
Yeah, I'm going to need to see one of your bug out bags. I just need to at some point. And, I want to see what's in there, and because you seem to have a lot more experience than I do, I'm going to take notes and maybe up my game a little bit.
Victoria would probably like that.
Yeah.
Well, she, I would. The only good part of, no, I'm not even going to say it. I'm going to get myself in trouble. The only good part about if we had to get out of here fast, she wouldn't have time to pack everything.
That's right. And Cole-Ann always tells me, save yourself, leave me as the sacrifice. I don't have energy for that.
Yeah. Sometimes people wouldn't want to go forward into the world with that kind of hardship.
It's just like the mentality of, you don't have to be the fastest runner, you just have to be faster than the other person.
Yeah, I used that a lot as a child, but I digress. All right, thanks for everything,
Thank you so
Mary.
much for coming today.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you, and of course, we will be in touch very soon.
Okay, we'll chat later.
And tune in next week for the Selling Portage podcast with me,
Well done,
Colin
Colin.
Doyle,
Well done.
and my co-host, Ryan Espey.